Hi, this is Ashio, and welcome back to Echo. We are in a very bad position. We were trying to break Leo out of this house. Everything's gone very, very, very bad. And we're in the middle of a fight. What do I do? Do I help Kudzu? Or do I go for Duke's gun? If I go for the gun, maybe I can control the situation? Go for it. I don't, no, I don't know. Go for the gun. Because no one's fighting over Duke's gun, I realise it might be my best chance. I lunge in the opposite direction. Clumsily, I scoop up the weasel's gun, turning it over in my hands until I'm holding it the right way. Brian, my gun. Leo's still tearing away at the weasels as Duke holds them up in defence. I turn around, crouched back against the wall, as I see Brian standing over a downed Kudzu. I can only pray that he hasn't killed him. I point the gun at Brian just as he turns around to face me. Seeing that he's about to get shot, the bear lunges at me, his massive paws upstretching out toward me. Luckily for me, the gun is loaded. Trying to keep myself steady, I manage to find the safety and flick it off. I shoot him right in the face. The sound is so loud in the tiny room that my hearing goes out for the moment. Brian crumples to the floor, and the room goes quiet. But only for a moment. An earthy howling sound comes from the bear as he slowly props himself up on his hands, looking back up at me. For a moment I wonder if the evil powers of Echo have brought him back to life somehow. But no, there's a bloody hole just above his blunt nose, and I can see the white of bone peeking through the red. Somehow the bullet hadn't even pierced his skull. Shakily, I raise the gun again, but Brian rolls away to the door with a speed that shouldn't be possible for a bear his size, and he's gone. I stare for a moment, wondering if I should run after him, but a snarl next to me has me pointed the gun at Duke instead. Leo's still tearing into his arms as Duke hollers at the top of his lungs, trying to cover his face. Leo, stop. I've got the gun on him. Leo looks up at me with his wild eyes, pausing for a moment before slowly letting go of the mustarded's arms, bloody drawl hanging from his chin. I try to ignore that and keep the gun trained on Duke's head as Leo flops to the side in his chair. After seeing how little the bullet had affected Brian, I'm not so confident it would do much damage to Duke. Maybe bears just have thicker skulls, but I'm more worried that the gun is just shit. Duke doesn't move though, as he lays his back against the concrete, eyes closed, gasping for breath. His arms are at his sides, both of them leaking blood onto the ground. Leo really did a number on them. He definitely needs to go to a hospital. A hand touches my shoulder and I jump. I look back and see that it's Kudzu. Sorry, you okay? Leo's gun hangs loosely from one of his hands. Kudzu, you fucking saved our lives. I grin at him as I almost sob with relief. I want to hug him, but I have to keep the gun on Duke. Of course, I'm sorry I didn't stop him when he took you. I wasn't sure what to do. He touches my shoulder again and I can feel him trembling. Don't worry about it. We're okay now. Okay, can someone get me out of these handcuffs, please? My arms are fucking kidding me. Kidding you? You ripped mine apart. Duke is practically sobbing now, curling up on his side to hold his arms to his chest. Fuck you, arsehole. Leo spits at him as he tries to adjust his position on the floor. Where are the keys, Duke? Duke takes in a shuddering breath and holds it for a few seconds before answering. Right, pocket. Kudzu walks over and kneels next to the weasel, sifting through his pocket. Keep an eye on the door, Chase, in case Blubbergut comes back. I try to angle myself so I can keep an eye on both the door and Duke, even though I'm pretty sure the latter is through at this point. Kudzu pulls the small metal key out before moving over to Leo, fumbling around for a good while before the handcuffs finally drop to the ground. Leo kneels there for a moment, wringing out his wrists. Are you okay? He smiles at me. I'm a little sore, but I think I'll be alright. He gets unsteadily to his feet, taking a pair of handcuffs up with him before bending quickly to give me a kiss on the head. I'm so happy you're okay, Chase, and thank you, Kudzu. He slaps the raccoon on the back before turning his attention to the weasel. Duke notices and quickly curls up tighter. I was just trying to help everyone. Ah! Leo grabs him by his bloodied arms before yanking him violently to his feet. The weasel screams double as the wolf twists those arms behind his back, handcuffing them. Why the hell do you have so many handcuffs anyway? Duke starts sobbing again until Leo whips him around and slaps him across the face. Duke sways, stunned by the power of the blow, before Leo brings the hand back and hits him on the other cheek. Shut the fuck up. Leo is way different. He's like super sweet and besotted with Chase, but he's really harsh to everybody else. Leo? Leo ignores Kudzu as he pulls the chair back up and throws Duke into it so violently it almost tips over. Please, I'm sorry. I just want to help. Duke cowers as Leo raises his hand again. I realise how tightly I'm holding onto the gun, and though I'm pointing it at the ground now, I'm sure to take my finger off the trigger. While Leo's violence is a little disturbing, it's almost comforting to have him throw his weight around after how the weasel had threatened us. Kudzu, on the other hand, doesn't look comforted at all. He's still trembling from the earlier fight, and he's pulling at the fur on his chin as he watches Leo. Careful, Leo. Let's just take him to the cops or something. Kudzu looks over his shoulder at the door. Going to Paynton was probably a better idea, now that I realise how messed up everyone is. Yeah. I mean, if that monster they're all talking about isn't real, would have been better to risk that than get involved with these idiots. I hadn't even thought about the supposed thing keeping everyone from leaving town. It seems silly now that we let a stupid story like that keep us here. Leo doesn't seem to be listening. You're a fucking lunatic, Duke. Why shouldn't I just kill you right now? Leo. Leo looks over his shoulder at us finally, shaking his head at Kudzu conspiratorially. Kudzu goes silent as Leo goes back to staring down the weasel. Now explain to us what the hell's going on. Leo leans in closer with his bloody muzzle, and Duke cringes back. Tell the truth, maybe I'll let you go. Leo glances at me. I won't kill you, at least. He's trying to make it clear to me that he's just trying to scare Duke. At least that's what I hope he's doing. I already explained. Duke's eyes dart back and forth between us. The way he's kicking his feet around with a high-pitched whiny voice makes me think of a child. A really ugly, malnourished child. I still feel a little bad for him though. Remind me, because I was a little fucking distracted? Kudzu sidles up next to me and sets his hand on my shoulder. You want to watch the door? I touch hands in acknowledgement and turn around to face the door. I don't really think Brian's going to be coming back though. I told yous, something bad's happening and we need to figure out what. Yeah, but how did kidnapping us help anything? Duke sighs deeply, and I glance over my shoulder to see him slumping in defeat. Last time this happened, it might have been caused by murder. Not the murder, but that the guy got away with murder. There's a moment of silence. Okay. Leo's tone demands that Duke goes on. So the guilt from the guy, or the worry in the town, or the spirits? Heck, I don't know. Maybe all of that. But it came together to make everything go crazy. Okay, sure, but how does this have anything to do with us? Us saws that ought to sneaking round town before they says you got here. I look back again and see Duke looking at me. So is Leo. Seems kinda fishy to me, so I thought he might have had something to do with it all. It was my only lead. Leo doesn't respond this time. I look back again and see that he's still looking at me. What is it? You told me yourself, Leo, that you saw him sneaking round too. It was someone else. How the hell do you know that? What are you guys talking about? Kudzu, can you watch the door? I finally turn around. Leo leans one hand on the back of Duke's chair as he sighs. If you remember, Chase, I told you about how I thought I saw someone out my window that looked like you? Leo turns his glare back into Duke. I got drunk with this arsehole and accidentally told him about it too. But we both saw it? Isn't that a bit strange? Same otter came by the town that looked like Chase? What the hell else was it? Leo glances back at me, and I feel like there's some doubt in his eyes. I mean, you weren't here, right? Of course I wasn't. I know, just making sure. Leo turns back to Duke. And why would that mean anything anyway? Duke looks around, visibly clenching his toes. I've heard stuff about doubles, like doppelgangers or something. Doppelgangers. Sure, but people talked about that shit happening back then, seeing themselves and stuff. Okay, so if we believe that shit, what would it mean he has anything to do with anything? Well, my grandpappy said that the guy that did it was in 2 or 3 places at once sometimes. There's a moment of silence as we all absorb that bit of information. Sounds like a load of shit to me, Duke. Duke jumps at his seat. I'm just telling you what I know. So what's your solution to all of this then? I don't know. It stopped when they got the guy. Duke cowers in his chair and glances at me. Leo follows his gaze, and his eyes turn steely. Duke seems to notice Leo's sudden change in demeanour, but before he can do anything, he gets a massive slap from the wolf. Leo, stop that. Duke immediately starts sobbing again and curls in on himself. He's got no reason to lie at this point. Me? This fucker wants to get at Chase. It did seem that way. Did Duke think that the only way to stop all of the problems in this town was to kill me? Duke. Kudzu tries a different approach, his voice much gentler than Leo's. The problem with your theory is that Chase hasn't killed anyone. Right, Chase? Course not. Of course not. So maybe we need to rethink things a little, huh? Or maybe he can do that in a fucking jail cell. We're going back to get my van, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. If we can. I'm still not sure about that thing that the mayor was talking about. What thing? A monster or something? The mayor told us it's killing people that are trying to leave. Leo stares. Has the town really gone that fucking insane? Kudzu shrugs. There were bodies. Jesus. Leo looks around. Well, it still sounds like bullshit, but if there is anything, we'll be fine if we leave in a car. The motel's closer, we can use my car instead. Sure. Duke is still staring at me with a hard look. I get the feeling that despite all of the things we just told him, he's not buying it. Leo hauls the weasel off to the chair, gaining a little squeak of pain from Duke as he's forced to break eye contact with me. What about the others? We're going to try to find everyone we can before we leave, but the priority is to get ourselves to a police station. Leo pulls me to stand in front of him before gesturing at Kudzu. Could take the gun, safety's off now. Kudzu visibly frowns as I hand it to him. Yeah, sorry about that. I want Chase between us. I don't trust these fuckers not to try anything, especially if Brian comes back. So with Kudzu leading the way, we make our way out of Brian's house and into the night. It's quieter this time around, as we head out onto the deserted night street. It seems like things have settled down a little at least. Kudzu's fur is still bristled out on the back of his neck. I'm starting to worry about him. He's being tense, even considering the situation we're in. Keep your eyes peeled anyway. Of course. I've also been sensing a strange sort of tension between the two of them. It can probably be put up to the situation currently at hand though. We're all on edge. I can see the motel a ways down the road, but ominously, the lights are all out. Duke has gone quiet for the most part. I wonder if he's just given up, or if he's planning something. Hopefully it's the former. I'm not really seeing anything out of the ordinary here. Trust me, things are fucked up. We pass the diner, the moonlight glinting softly off its metal edges. A dark, sick feeling sets in as I stare at the black windows. That's where it all started. Should we check to see if she's still there? Leo's quiet behind me for a moment and clears his throat. I don't see why we need to do that. I don't know, to tell the cops about it or something. If the cops haven't been there, then I'm sure she's still in there. No use looking inside. Alright. Hey, it's gonna be okay, alright? Not for Janice. Leo doesn't say anything to that as we continue down the road, finally reaching the motel parking lot. Keep moving. I look behind me and see that Duke stopped, still looking back at the diner. I see something. What? Kudzu stops too and looks back at us. Something. I look at the diner and see nothing moving in the windows or in front of it. It's way too dark to see anything in there anyway. Leo prods at Duke's back, but the weasel refuses to move, rooted to the spot. Am I going to have to carry you? Leo lets go of Duke for just a moment, reaching up to turn him around, probably to throw the weasel over his shoulder. But before he can do that, Duke screams, long and loud, and it raises all the hairs on the back of my neck. Before Leo can stop him, the weasel takes off into the night, away from the diner, toward a grouping of trees and bushes on the side of the road. Leo curses and immediately goes after him. Kudzu starts to follow. Don't follow me, wait by the car. Leo shouts over his shoulder before disappearing into the brush. Then, more faintly, and watch Chase. Kudzu and I stare into the darkness, listening to the two of them crash through the brush before fading out into silence. After a few moments, Kudzu rubs his head and turns to me. Well, I guess we should get to the car then. I frown, not really worried that Duke can do much to Leo, but rather that they'll run into someone that could. It shouldn't be too hard to catch him. He's in handcuffs. Duke can be fast when he wants to be. Fuck. I feel like that maybe we should have gone with him. I keep staring into the darkness of the brush, and Kudzu puts a hand on my shoulder as he passes. Don't worry, Leo can take care of himself, especially when he's up against someone like Duke, a handcuffed Duke. Yeah. Reluctantly, I follow the raccoon. Leo's brief presence had been so strong and reassuring, it's kind of jarring to be without it again. At the same time though, it's not all that different with Kudzu. Leo's just more overpowering with it, I guess. I fished my keys out of my pocket and then suddenly realised where we're at. Hey, we should check our room. Jenna or TJ might be in there, maybe even some of the others. Kudzu looks at the dark motel, scanning the rows of doors. Yeah, we should, but I think we should wait for Leo. I don't really trust anyone right now. I realise he's implying that one of my friends could have gone insane too, and I also realise that I can't blame him. From what I saw and what I've heard, TJ might be acting the same way as Duke. That thought causes my stomach to churn sickly. Listen, I gotta pee real quick, okay? Okay. I'm just gonna go behind that corner. He points over to the side of the motel. No problem. I'm getting a little annoyed that everyone is acting like I'm a little kid that needs to be watched. Cool, be right back. Kudzu does a little jog away before disappearing around the corner. I lean back against the door of the car, swinging the keys around a finger. It's completely quiet now, and I haven't heard a single gunshot since we got outside. I wonder if everyone that's been fighting is dead now. Or maybe they just realised how ridiculous the mayor's story was and left. Thinking about the supposed monster that I definitely don't believe in, though, has me looking over my shoulder into the darkness. Images of a hanging body crosses my mind. Shit. I look over to where Kudzu went. It's been a little while. Shouldn't he be done by now? A pop from the brush across the street makes me jump. Leo? My voice comes out in a whisper. There's definitely something out there. Its form stands out just a shade darker than the trees behind it. It might be a bush, but it looks thin, like a person. I squint at it, and that's when I see the glint of two eyes in the darkness. I freeze. Whoever it is, they're not responding to me, and that's definitely not a good sign. I decide that I'm just not going to move until Kudzu gets here. Yeah, and if it does move, I'll just run over to where Kudzu went. I don't think he'll mind me catching him with his pants down if there's a fucking psychopath chasing after us. I see a thick tail switch out to the side of the dark thing. Slowly, I feel behind myself for the keyhole to the car door, sliding the key in and unlocking it. Actually, I'm just gonna get in the car, footsteps to my right. Duke, his eyes wild, is on me in an instant. He slams into me so hard that I'm sent into the asphalt with an impact that rattles my brain. I roll over groggily and see Duke bent over, his hands fumbling at the ground. Somehow, he's moved his handcuffed hands from the behind himself to the front. I realise that I don't have my keys anymore at the same time that Duke stands up, keys in hand. Kudzu? I yell and reach for Duke, who dodges away, throwing some kicks at me before yanking open my car door. Fuck! I lunge for the handle, but I see the weasel slam down the lock just as I reach it. Kudzu comes running around the corner just as Duke starts up the car. Duke! I shout uselessly at Kudzu as Duke peels out, yanking the handle from my grasp and forcing me to hop back a step to stop from being run over. Of course I think that Duke's just going to take off down the road and get the hell out of Echo. I have no idea that he's going to turn sharply in the parking lot and come straight for me. Chase! Kudzu screams at me just 20 feet away now, but there's no time. The car's coming at me. I jump to the left, but Duke easily follows my movement. I see the license plate and the headlights, which Duke hasn't turned on. I jump and land on the hood of the car as it hits me. I feel like my body is falling through the air. I see the stars and the moon, and then I land. The desert stretches and winds into the distance, rising and falling with the mountains, hills and valleys. It's endless, monolithic, passionless. Except here. Its mark is clear on the land, like a stain, a blemish in the beige patchwork of the wilderness. The earth's bad, the air's bad, everything's tainted. Tainted. The mark is old, it's ancient. Been here longer than people. All people. And they know it too. Everyone who's been here knows it. So do you, even though you're not from here. You were drawn to the stain, like all the other evil that's planted itself here. You can see it right through the otter's eyes. You see its influence stretch above you like black tendrils into a dark red sky. They stretch, search, reach for anything alive to stain anything they touch. So it is, so it will always be. Chase. I stare groggily up at the face above me. A swirling mess of grey and black before I'm able to focus on the nose just inches away from my own. That crosses my eyes, which hurts, so I close them again. Chase. The voice is gentler this time, though no less concerned. I try to reach up my hand to assure whoever it is that I'm fine. I feel the soft velvety sensation of an ear catch between my fingers, and the person above me stills. What happened? You guys okay? I mumble thickly past lips that don't seem to cooperate with words that don't seem to make sense. Are you? He hit you really hard. I feel a hand run over the top of my head like it's looking for something. Did you hit your head? I feel my own head, keeping my other hand resting on Kudzu's head. That's right, Kudzu. I push myself up suddenly, realising where I am and what just happened. I look around into the night, the surreal feeling of regaining consciousness in this nightmare making it all the more horrific. Shit, where is he? I try to push myself up, but Kudzu holds me down firmly. Duke, he took off somewhere. Kudzu looks around, his ears pointing up as if listening before looking back down at me as I try to sit up again. You need to stay down for now, something might be injured. I think I'm okay, I'm just a little bit out of it. Kudzu gazes down at me, and for a moment I'm left staring into his deep dark eyes. That's when the sound of feet slapping against asphalt breaks the spell, and Kudzu looks behind himself. What the hell? Duke just... Kudzu is suddenly shoved roughly away, and I find myself held up in Leo's arms. What the fuck happened? Leo desperately looks me up and down as he holds me in his arms. Did he shoot you? What? No, he just hit me with a car. I see Leo's eyes widen and his ears shoot up. He suddenly turns his attention to Kudzu, hackles raised. What the fuck were you doing, Kud? Why weren't you watching him? Kudzu flinches back and glares. He came out of nowhere, Leo. We're both trying to stop him. I can see Leo working himself up to shout something else, and that's when I push myself out of his strong grip. Despite the circumstances, I'm bristling at the way I'm being coddled. Leo, he was driving a fucking car. There wasn't anything he could do. Now standing, I feel an achy sensation in my back and my head spins a little. I brace my hands on my knees and wait for it to subside. I don't think you should be standing up so soon. I'm fine. Though, now that I'm standing, I'm not completely sure of that. Worrying twinges and creaks pang throughout my body, but I force myself to straighten up, facing the other two. We need to keep moving, find the others, and get out of here. Leo moves up next to me, a big paw reaching out to wrap around my shoulders. I cringe though, and Leo takes his hand back. You need me to carry you, honey. I grimace and shake my head, mostly because I feel like being slung over his back would be even worse. He settles on rubbing my back gently, eyes still looking me over, as if trying to spot some unseen injury. Let's get the hell to Peyton. Kudzu coughs awkwardly. We've lost the car? Oh yeah. My heart sinks. Even now, in the situation we're in, I'm a little angry that it was my car that got stolen. I worked hard to buy that thing, even if it was a junker. Leo shakes his head like it's a mild annoyance. Then we'll just have to use my van instead. Leo looks up the road in the direction of the diner where he left it 2 days ago. Wait, let's check at the motel, see if any of the others are in the room. Otter, I'm sure the others have already gotten out by now. I mean, we haven't heard anything from any of them though, and wouldn't they have brought the police or something? Leo looks back at the motel, chewing his lip. Alright, but let's be fucking quick about it. We need to get the hell out of here so we can get everyone help. Yeah, real quick. I reach into my back pocket, putting out the key card as I hobble up in the direction of our room on the other side of the building. Kudzu reaches out to me. You need help? Oh, Leo shoulders the raccoon aside, and he practically jumps to my side, gently pressing a hand into my back again. Stay close, Otter. Not going to let something like that happen to you again. I try to ignore the tension I feel building between the other two. More than anything, I'm annoyed at Leo. Why is he acting like this? Sure, he was always a little jealous, but right now, in the middle of this hellscape of chaos... I shake my head, allowing the wolf to guide me with his hands as we turn the corner to the motel. Kudzu stays close behind us, and I look back at him and give a small smile to show that I at least appreciated his concern for me. He gives me a short nod back, but otherwise doesn't say anything. Like most of the town, the back of the motel is completely deserted as far as I can see. Another pop, there's probably a gunshot echoes in the distance, but I'm just thankful they aren't happening every minute like earlier. Again, I wonder if it's because everyone's dead. As fucked up as it is, I think that might be a good thing for us. As long as it doesn't involve any of my friends. We reach the door of the motel, and my heart sinks again when I see that there's no light coming from the window. Shakily, I raise the keycard to press it against the lock, only to accidentally drop it. I start to bend over to pick it up, but Leo puts a hand on my shoulder, speaking gently into my ear. Don't move. He sweeps up the card and presses it to the lock. It flashes green, and I hear the electric buzz of the lock coming unlatched before Leo presses down on the door handle and pauses. His other hand suddenly reaches out behind me, toward Kudzu. Kudzu, hand me my gun. I'll give you Jukes. Kudzu stares at the hand for a moment and jumps, as if suddenly realising what the wolf is talking about. Oh, right. Kudzu lifts his shirt, fumbling with the waistband before pulling out the gun. He hands it to Leo, who in turn hands him Duke's gun. He checks the safety on his own before pointing it toward the door. Leo pauses again and glances at me. Otter, behind me. Leo nods back to the wall next to the door. I only feel a little twinge of resentment at being treated like a child again, but I'm too eager to check the room to say anything. Finally, Leo gives the door a gentle shove, allowing it to swing open on its own. I can't see anything from behind Leo, but judging by the look on Kudzu's face next to me, they don't see anything. I realise why as Leo slowly reaches inside and flips the light switch. I can't resist and peek around Leo's bulk into the motel room. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe a blood-splattered room with all of our friends' bodies piled in the middle or something. Instead, though, it's basically just how I remember it. I even see my pyjamas crumpled up on my side of the bed where I left them. Leo holds steady for a moment, keeping the gun pointed at the ceiling of the room. Finally, he leans in, whispering loudly. Hello? No response. Leo waits for a little while longer before finally moving forward slowly. I don't wait for Leo's approval to follow and move closely behind him, Kudzu just behind me. There isn't much to search in the motel room, having just the room and the bathroom to check. Once Leo's sure it's clear, I shut the door and lock it before turning to the other two. Just so we know that we're safe, for now at least. Leo shakes his head. We gotta keep moving, Chase. We should head to my place now. I open Jenna's laptop on the table, pushing the power button. Come on, what are you doing? Leo shifts his weight from one foot to the other. Kudzu moves to stand next to me. Checking the internet? I was hoping to. I sigh as I stare at the password screen. Well, let me check with my phone. Leo sighs again. That's not going to help us. I have Wi-Fi calling. Leo sighs again and sits heavily on the bed, bending it in like a bow. He sets his gun on the bedside table before rubbing his face vigorously with both hands. You okay? Saying that Leo's been on the edge is an understatement. And sure, we're all fucked up right now, but the way the wolf's been acting, it's like he's a different person. Leo lets his hand slide down his face so he can peer at me over his fingertips. He examines me for a while and then finally reaches out with both hands. Come here, Chula. I almost hesitate, and I'm not sure why. I walk over to him and stand in front of the wolf before he reaches out and pulls me down onto his lap. And then he presses my head against his chest before wrapping his arms around me. He starts stroking the back of my neck gently, and it makes me shiver. It all feels a little forced, and we don't meld together naturally like we always used to. I'm sorry about letting all of that happen. I should have told the police when Duke started threatening earlier. Do you know what's happening? Leo takes in another breath, and his broad chest swells against my cheek before he blows it all out, ruffling the fur on my head. I don't know. I really don't. I notice Kudzu standing to the side, clearly trying not to look at us. Any internet? Kudzu looks up and shakes his head. Nope, can't find the network. Damn it. Did the bear do anything to you? The hesitation in Leo's voice makes it clear what he's really asking, and it sounds like he's been wanting to ask it for a while. No, he just tied me up for a little while. I guess technically he did do it in a more kind of way, but I don't really want to go into that right now. That whole incident actually seems like a long time ago. Janice's murder, getting near raped by Brian, trying to kill Brian. I feel like there's a numbness in my chest that's dampening my emotions right now, and everything feels like it's far away from me. I wonder if that's some kind of psychological response to what's happening, and if I'll be all fucked up after this is over. Probably. But I kind of welcome the numbness right now. It at least helps me deal with what's happening a little easier. Jenna would probably be able to tell me what's happening right now, if she were here. Of course it makes me wonder where she and the others are. It makes me want to get out there and find them. Because as much as I want to get the hell out of this place, I kind of feel responsible for them. I did drag all of them here after all. I'm going to get you out of here, I promise. Leo breathes into my ear and squeezes me a little tighter. I have to hold back a wince as a twinge goes through my back. I have a feeling that I'm going to be very sore tomorrow. I suddenly lift my head to look back at Kudzu. What time is it? Kudzu takes his phone back out of his pocket to check. It's 3:45? I stare at him. Are you serious? That means it's only been a little more than an hour since we left Kudzu's place? I was hoping that daylight would be a bit closer than that. Kudzu slumps down in the chair at the table. That's what my phone says, at least. I continue to rest my head against Leo's chest, listening to him breathe. I glance up at him and see that his eyes are closed as he continues to stroke the back of my head. Leo is kind of like... We already established that he's like really possessive and obsessive, and he's just a bit... He's a bit of a creep in some respects. I don't know. This is not the time for this kind of reassurance. You know, we gotta survive. I'm about to tell him that we should get moving, but that's when I think I hear something. It's a soft snuffling sound, like someone's covering up their sniffing. I lay there against Leo, not moving, as I continue to listen. A full 10 seconds go by before it happens again, and this time I think it's coming from below us, under the bed. I look up at Leo again, wondering how to tell him that I heard something without saying it out loud. Honestly, with his massive wolf ears, he should have heard it before I did. I reach up and poke at his chin. Leo shakes his head a bit, around the poking, but otherwise doesn't open his eyes. I frown and reach up further, touching his cheek. He leans into it. Leo. I barely whisper at him. Finally, he does open his eyes, and I point at my own ears, mouthing, "Listen." I see his ears comically perk up, his eyes looking at the ceiling. I motion down at the bed. I can see Kudzu to the side of his chair, eyeing us curiously, but not saying anything otherwise, thankfully. This time, the snuffling sound is quite a bit louder, and I feel Leo's fur rise up on his arms. That is definitely a person, or something living and breathing at least, and it definitely came from under the bed. Leo slowly and gently pushes me off his lap, motioning me away. Slowly, he leans over and grabs up the gun. Then he stands back, backing up away from the bed, and then crouching slowly with the gun pointed as he looks under the bed. I see Leo pause, staring, and then he reaches out and grabs whatever it is and yanks hard. Ah! The scream is loud and piercing. Whatever it was sounds like a terrified child. It thrashes and kicks at Leo, and when it is clawing frantically at the carpet to get back under the bed, I realise who it is. TJ? I shout his name, confused and terrified myself. What the hell? Calm down. Leo's got both his hands on TJ's ankles, trying to keep him still, while at the same time not getting gouged by the toe claws. I move closer, though not close enough to get clawed by the lynx, and try to crouch in his line of sight. TJ, it's us. You're okay. The look in his eyes is wild and desperate and feral. I reach out for his wrist, and he immediately slashes at me with his other hand. Chase, stay back. I fall back on my butt and scoot away a little wide-eyed. I've never seen TJ like this. Of course I haven't. I can't imagine what could have made him like this. I scramble up and stand next to Kudzu, who's just as wide-eyed as me. Despite that, he sidesteps a little in front of me, as if to shield me from the insane TJ. Leo finally drops the cat's legs, and before TJ can scrabble back under the bed, Leo jumps on his back. I wince, as I'm sure I can hear TJ deflate like a tyre from Leo's weight. The wolf snatches up TJ's arms, pinning them against his back, as he leans over the lynx, shouting into his ear. TJ, stop fighting, it's me, Leo. TJ continues to writhe, making weird yowling noises that I've never heard him make before. TJ, it's me, it's your friends. We're here to help you, man. Leo's voice is quieter now, more soothing, as he tries to calm the crazed lynx. It seems to be working so far, as TJ's violent thrashing lessens, his yowling fading out to more feeble whining sounds. See, I'm here now. You're gonna be fine. Finally, TJ's head falls to the carpet, everything going limp. TJ was hiding in there. Okay, but he's sitting on the bed, cross-legged, as he rests his back against the headboard. I gave him a blanket when I saw him shivering, and he's got that draped over his shoulders, holding it tightly around himself. It hasn't stopped the shivering, though. I seem to be the only one he doesn't flinch at when you get close, so I sit next to him on the bed. Awkwardly, I put my arm around him, but he seems to take comfort in that and leans against me. The smell of sweat and piss is strong, but I don't say anything. Leo, meanwhile, sits at the end of the other bed, gently trying to get TJ to tell us what the hell happened. Was someone chasing you? Is someone here? TJ shivers against me and I pat his shoulder. He looks at me then, and I see his fur is completely matted to his face, like he's been crying non-stop. I notice bits of dead leaves on his head too, along with some dirt. The hell had he been doing? Leo continues to prod gently at the lynx with his questions. If you can tell us, then we might be able to stop it, or at least watch out for it before we leave. TJ looks at Leo and then opens his mouth, making a squeaking noise. He swallows loudly and tries again. Do we have any water? It sounds like he has an extremely sore throat. I look over to the sink, but Kudzu jumps off the chair he's sitting on and makes his way to it. He grabs up one of the small plastic cups before running the faucet. TJ watches him until the raccoon brings the cup back over. TJ drops the blanket around his shoulders and reaches out eagerly for the cup. We all watch intently as he loudly swallows giant gulps of water before lowering it from his lips and gasping for air. Leo smiles encouragingly. Careful, don't drown yourself. TJ stares and shivers again, much more violently. I grip him more tightly. Are you cold? I grab up the blanket and try to tuck it around his shoulders better. Kinda, not really, I feel cold, but TJ rubs at his chest. He's still trembling, and I realise he might be in shock. I don't know what to do for that. In every TV show I've seen, the person is just given a shiny blanket while they sit on the side of the road. So I just continue to rub his shoulder in circular motions, trying to be soothing. I wish Jenna were here. She'd know what to do. He leans against me again though, so I feel like I'm doing the right thing. He holds out the cup to Kudzu again. Could I get some more, please? Sure. Kudzu takes the cup delicately from TJ, like the links might break. When Kudzu moves off to the sink again, TJ leans in toward me, whispering, That guy played soccer with us, right? Yeah, he did. Right. TJ goes back to leaning against me and staring at the wall. Well, this isn't good. He does seem to be getting better. At least he's like talking to us now. He can recognise us again, and remember stuff at least. Leo adjusts himself on the bed, clearing his throat again. Tej, if you can't remember it's okay, but I just want to make sure no one's coming after you. TJ blinks and shakes his head. No, I don't think so. Leo waits, but TJ doesn't say anything more. No one? So... But you were hiding, so Leo clearly doesn't want to upset the lynx, but it makes sense why he wants to know. If there's someone lurking out there hunting TJ down, we could be in a lot of danger right now. We have to wait though, as Kudzu comes back with the cup. TJ takes a few more big gulps before looking back up at Leo. I thought I saw something. I keep seeing things. I think I need to go home. I stare hard at TJ, studying him. I don't know why, but I guess I thought we'd all be exempt from the hysteria. I knew we were all normal, at least to an extent. This whole crazy chaos seems too foreign, too different for it to affect my friends, people I know that are grounded, normal people. That's exactly what TJ was. And now... Leo stands up and steps closer, sitting down slowly next to TJ on the opposite side of the bed. We are going to go home, Tej. We just have to go on a walk to my car first. Leo reaches out and sets a hand on TJ's leg, and I'm glad to see that he doesn't flinch at all. He's really calming down. Okay. TJ suddenly opens up the blanket around himself, staring down at his clothes. I see his nose twitching, then the skin on the inside of his ears flushes. Can I take a shower? Leo pauses, clearly not having expected that. Well, we really do need to get going. Don't you want to get home and take a shower there? TJ has put the blanket back over himself, trying to hide his pants. I'd just like to feel clean again. I feel like it might be a good thing for him to clean off. Maybe have some alone time. I give Leo a meaningful look as I lower my voice gently for TJ. Sure, man. We'll wait. TJ slowly pushes himself off the bed to stand on unsteady legs, both of his hands not so subtly shielding his crotch as he walks to the dresser. Okay, just don't leave, okay? We won't. Leo's still using his talking to a toddler voice. The wolf gives me a frustrated look, but I ignore it. And I'm gonna leave the door open, so if anything happens, just yell. It's fine, nothing's gonna happen, okay? Yeah, okay. TJ pulls out some pants from the dresser before making his way to the bathroom. He keeps glancing back at us, like we're gonna disappear if he looks away for too long. I'll try to give him a cheerful smile until he finally disappears into the bathroom. We sit around in a sort of circle in the motel room, Leo and I on the beds and Kudzu in the chair. We keep our voices low as we discuss what's going on, not wanting TJ to hear. This doesn't make sense. TJ's one of the most rational people I know. How's it affecting him? We don't know what's causing it though. I don't know, I thought it was like drugs or something. They all just took the same drug. I don't know, or maybe they're all crazy because the drugs or something set it off. Well, TJ is religious. So? So if he believes in that, then maybe it could go further than that. I shake my head. No, that doesn't make sense. People in cults do it all the time. But he's not in a cult. It's all kind of the same thing when you think about it. Your whole family is super religious, Leo. Yes, so I have first-hand experience with all of it, you know? Leo chuckles, despite the situation. It just makes me wonder if this is something more than what's in everyone's head, if even TJ's having it happen. Kuzi taps his chin from the chair he's sitting in. What was it Duke was saying about his grandpa? Something about a curse? Leo waves his hand like he's swatting away a fly. But yeah, speaking of shit that doesn't make sense. Kuzu shrugs. I'm starting to wonder. I fold my arms and look toward the bathroom where steam is wafting from TJ's shower. Well, stop wondering. I don't want you ending up like them. I frown and glance back at the bathroom before lowering my voice. Like TJ. Leo sighs. No, like one of the fuckers probably freaked him out or something. He did say he was seeing things. Leo suddenly stands up from his sitting position on the bed. You know what? We should just stop talking about this. We're leaving once he's done anyway. As if on cue, the water shuts off and the automatic dryer starts up. Right after that, TJ's meek voice pipes up from inside the bathroom. Are you guys still there? I call back gently, but cheerfully. We're here. Leo sighs and moves to the window to look outside, pulling back the curtain just a bit. You think the others are out there right now? Your friends? Yeah, Jenna, Cole, Flynn. I don't know why I hesitated with Flynn's name. Leo silently stares out the window a while longer, the yellow light of the street light falling across his face momentarily. He lets it drop back into place. With any luck, they got the hell out of here when this started. Like I said, if they did then, they would have brought someone back. Really, if anyone got out, then they would have. Leo doesn't say anything, electing to lift the gun that he'd had clutched in his hands this entire time to examine it. Does that mean no one's gotten out of here? There's a momentary silence. Hello? We're still here, TJ. Kuzu shifts in the chair. Well, a lot of us here have relations outside of town, family and work in Paynton. In fact, Kuzu checks his phone again. I'm supposed to be in work in like 5 hours. Someone's gonna notice. Maybe we could wait till morning. Someone's got to be looking for someone here by then. Leo thrusts his gun back into his waistband resolutely. No, relying on other people's gotten us nowhere. We gotta help ourselves. You might have a point, Leo. Your friend looks in pretty bad shape, like, mentally. Then I'll carry his ass to the van. I'm leaving, and I'm not leaving any of you behind. Leo stops, and I follow his gaze to the bathroom, where TJ stepped out, his fur a little damp and spiky from the shower, in a fresh change of clothes. He stands there awkwardly a moment, rubbing his arm as we all stare at him. Hey, how are you feeling? I'm fine. Things are more clear now. Leo smiles gently. Good. So you remember who we all are? TJ smiles weakly. Yeah, again, things are clear. And you guys don't have to talk to me like that. Like I'm crazy? Oh, sorry. I clear my throat and try to assume a less I'm talking to a crazy person tone. Do you think you can make it to Leo's? We can stay here if you want, wait for someone to find us. I ignore Leo's exasperated sigh from behind me, and TJ glances at the bed. I'd like to lay down, but... He looks back up at us, clasping his hands together. But I think something's happening here. Something doing something to our heads? I don't know. Leo narrows his eyes. What do you mean? TJ looks off to the side. I saw things that shouldn't be here. This has never happened to me before, so, TJ looks down at his hands. I remember someone was chasing me, trying to grab me, and I scratched at it. TJ looks back up at us. Then it was Jenna, but I was too scared. I didn't know if it was really her or not, so I ran. She didn't follow me. TJ's starting to shiver again. And, what did she look like when you didn't know it was her exactly? TJ frowns, opening his mouth to say something and closes it again. Finally he looks at Leo, apparently deciding to ignore the question. Can we find her? I can't stop thinking about it, and I want to make sure she's okay. His voice is getting a little broken, but he manages to control his tears this time. Leo grimaces. We really need to go, TJ. The faster we can get help, the faster we can help everyone here, including Jenna. The corners of TJ's mouth tug down in a frown, but he doesn't say anything. But if we see her on the way, of course we're going to bring her with us, okay? TJ's still looking like he's trying not to cry, but nods quickly. Leo rolls his shoulders, keeping the gun pointed at the ground as he moves to the door. Now everyone stay close to me. Chase, keep with TJ. Kuzu, bring up the rear, got it? Alright. We're just going to head up the street to the diner, not far at all. I look up at TJ, trying to give him a reassuring smile. He's still looking at his hands though, so I move over to him, putting a arm around his shoulder, gently guiding him to the door. So we escaped from our captors, hid, ran away, found TJ, and we're gonna go and explore again in the next episode. Hopefully we'll find something a little bit more promising. It's been pretty grim so far. This is Ushio signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.